Good morning and welcome to the Sunday morning service at the Home Center. It's September 29th, I think, isn't it?
Yep.
And all right. From the Home Center Ministerial Team.
27.
27th, okay. You're right. Before I start with the opening prayer, I'd like to give a little history about why we do the prayer the way we do it here at the Home Center. Over 3 years ago, in an executive board meeting, we had a discussion about the minister's responsibility when they give a sermon. They had to give a prayer, a little bit of chit-chat, and their sermon, and if it was on a Sunday, when we had live services, we also had an ending prayer. In an effort to free up some of their time and make it a little easier for them, we decided to take advantage of a real treasure we have in Reverend Joe Pinecoffer. He has Parkinson's and does not communicate well physically, but he's sharp mind. And we started using little tidbits of information from Joe. He gives a seed or a nugget, whatever you want to call it. And around that we create our opening prayer and closing prayer if we needed it. He's been working on that with me for over 3 years now, and we continue to work together on that. So with that in mind, I'll give you this morning's opening prayer from our Minister of Prayer, Reverend Joe Pinecoffer. As we gather here in the Home Center Chapel, whether in person or spirit, this is a beautiful autumn morning. Let us pause a moment to appreciate the wet and wonderful rainfall God's love has provided. This morning, as Reverend Jay and Dick Walker openly share their knowledge to help guide us into a peaceful and bright future, let us be mindful of the lessons we will be entrusted with, so that we may apply them throughout this coming week, and perhaps even share them with others like mine. Reverend Jay and Dick, sharing their thoughts with us is a labor of love on their part. Sharing your thoughts with others is how God's plan for us will grow with love. In God and Christ and your love and light, it is perfect. Amen. Okay. Anything you want to say before I stack the deck?
Oh no, let's let it go.
Okay. I'm going to start with a little bit of an explanation or thoughts I have on the Akashic Records because of the direction we're going with all these things. People think the Akashic Record is a mysterious library somewhere, no idea where, or the information that it has, or they think that it has everything, all their answers in it. In fact, the Akashic Record is like a regular library. It has sections depending on what you're looking for. If you're human and looking for something on this world that has to do with DNA, or has to do with past lives, or has to do with the future, that library, or that part of that library, is based within the earth and surrounding the earth. If you go further with other beings or other life in the universe, that library section expands or moves to a different star system, what have you. But it's always there. It's the information about an individual, depending on how focused you are, from the start of his DNA, could be 3,000 or 4,000 or longer ago, or even just 2 lifetimes ago. You can look at that life, each lifeline, and see how it has come to grow to the one you're in now, and why you have the challenges or why you have the drive to do certain actions, which sometimes won't seem like they make any sense to you, but you're actually completing what you have promised to do for your entire DNA line. Now I'm going to turn it over to Reverend Jay, and we'll see where we go.
Well, we've been always talking about here at the home center about past lives, and a lot of religions says you only here once. Well, we figure we're here a lot of times, over and over, because it's like going through school. There's 1 to 12, where you learn the language, you learn some of the customs, you learn how to communicate. Then we have colleges, we have trade schools, we have all of this to keep elevating you to a higher consciousness. And higher consciousness is the Christ consciousness. Can you be humane? Can you be there helping your fellow human beings on their way back, wake up, do the journey? And along the way, there's a lot of healing going on. And when you do some mistakes in some certain lifetimes, they stay carried in your soul until you correct them and purify yourself on earth, getting rid of that activity. But it isn't all on the negative side. There's a lot of good things just keep coming back to you time and time again. But you have to open the door to it. What you see in front of you isn't all the stuff that's real. And one of the things I'm going to kind of take on a thing that we do here at the home center, we do a treasure map. And we do it every January, and we come here as a group, and we put on pictures and sayings and everything on this piece of cardboard or whatever you want to use it on. And for the whole year, we're supposed to be sending earth energy to that board to bring into your life things that you cannot see right now in January, but will have a whole year to slowly but surely unfold. And then you determine whether you want this for your future, or do you want it to build on, or do you want to just let it go. It was just an experience. And I'd like to take you on one of them. When I first came to Oregon, and I lived over here on Salem, other part of Salem, I had I call them my board, and I wanted a new car, a convertible. And I had a blue one, picture of a blue Chevrolet with white top and white interior, and it talked about all the specials on it. And I put it on my wish board or project board. And when I'm out driving around, I send energy to the board, show me where that car is within my ability to acquire it. I always put it with the premises of within my ability to acquire it. And I started out in January, and then February, March, April, May, June, July, August comes. And in the meantime, a friend of mine stopped by, Alan, and his job is running around the countryside putting pinstripes on the side of a car. You see these little stripes of paint going down. He used to free draw those. And he saw my board, and he says, "What's this?" And I said, "That's my dream car. Somewhere out there in this universe, it's there. And it'll be waiting for me, and all I gotta do is find it. It's like Easter hunt." And he said, "Fine." And he's out, he traveled between Washington and Oregon. And in September, I get a phone call, and he says, "I'm up on the other side of Seattle, and this dealership has a car just like what you want. And he said he'd give you a good buy on it, because it's fall. Nobody wants a convertible in the fall." Now, here's the choice I have. I can drive from here up to there, that's beyond the other side of Seattle, but why not go and see what it is? So I hopped in my car, drove up to, on the other side of Seattle, Marysville or some place like that, drove into the dealership, and there was the car. Blue car with white interior, white top, everything I wanted, but one thing. It was a standard shift. And I was at that time getting a little older and having a little trouble with the left hip. I didn't want to have a car that had trouble shifting gears all the time, having to use that leg. So he said the car is fine, but I'm having trouble with my left leg, and they said sometime they'll have to replace that hip. So I think I'll have to pass on this. And the guy said, okay. And just as I'm walking away, it was just like someone whispered in my ear, turn and tell him I'll be back in a month to pick up the car with an automatic transmission. And I turned and looked at the dealer and said, I'll be back next month to pick up the car with an automatic transmission, just like this one, but with an automatic transmission. He just looked at me and he said, but it's the end of the season. He couldn't see how. I said, well, I'll be back. And when I walked out there, I thought, like, I must be a squirrel to think of such an odd thing as that. I'll be back. 1 month later, they had an auto show up in Seattle, and they made a special Chevrolet convertible, special blue paint on it, white top, white interior, automatic transmission, and an $8,000 worth of extras on it. Top of the line, everything that you'd ever want on a car and more. He calls me up on the phone and he says, I got the car for you. So I get in the car and I drive back up to Seattle, and I was so overwhelmed. It had everything. And I'm looking at him and I said, whoa, am I deserving to have all this? And he said, why not? At the end of the season, I got a break on it, and I figured out your whole deal. Your payments goes up $25 a month. $25 a month. I've got everything you ever want to. In fact, there was many gadgets on this car of this new season for the next year. There they were. Spirit, you, the law of attraction, we all would have came together and made this possible. He would have probably not gone to the auto show, and he probably wouldn't have walked up and bought this car, or they wouldn't have. Look at all the things that went together to make this possibility. And from that time on, it was just like living the game. I put up on the board what I'm committed to do. The universe knows that I'm going to be committed, because every day I bless the board, every day I see earth energy going in there. I see people helping me make it possible, help me advance this or better. And it's a game, and that's why Dick and I are kind of talking today about this game of life and how to play it. We see so many people out there complaining and storming around right now, burning things, whatever. Well, they have some past lives issues that they're trying to collect, and I feel sorry for them. Instead of destroying more, they should be there resolving more. But that's their journey. That's their life. They have enough to carry. I don't condemn them or nothing. I just bless them with energy that they find the way out of their own swamp, because they got in there. Now it's them to get out. And what goes around comes around. So whatever destructive they do, it's going to keep haunting them until they correct it. So let's go back and get Dick into the conversation here. What's going on in our world?
While you were talking about your car, I was thinking that when you went back up to Seattle to pick that up, there must have been a great emotional joy in your body that this dream had come true, and you're going to go pick it up. Is that right?
Well, part of it was nervous. I couldn't believe. There was a car waiting for me with $8,000 worth of extras on it, and it's only costing me $25 more a month car payment. And the whole question, am I entitled to this? And I walked up there, and it was magnificent.
Well, the emotion that we experience when we program these things, or when they finally happen to us, it brought back a memory of that class, the five-pointed star, the Eastern Star class last year. was kind of a put together, and I was sitting in the power seat, so we're probably in the last go around on it. And my question was about the Akashic record, back to our beginning start there. And how do you know when you're looking for something in it that you're finding it? And the answer I got, it's the emotion. It could be love, but it's the emotion. You feel the emotion of what you think it's going to be like whenever that piece of information you're looking for comes to you. And that's what draws you in a focused way into that particular scenario that you're trying to look up or trying to experience. Just like Reverend Jay said, at some point in time he had this feeling that this was going to be a great gift to give to himself. And he just kept that on his board, and he saw it every day, and he may not have paid a lot of attention to it, but every day it clicked off, and it added more and more of the emotion that the Akashic record and God expects from us to draw us to our good. And now he's driving, well, this is a few years ago.
Yeah.
We're way past the convertible era now, but at the time, it was just a perfect fulfillment of the process of visualization, the process of believing, the process of accepting your good.
You know, I'd like to take it, when you bring up the library, I was taking a course in, one of our members here gave me a gift of, on college course that I could take for free, and I needed to write a doctoral thesis with it. And I called my advisor on the phone. He's down in Arizona on metaphysics, and I said, I can't seem to find things that will justify my position. And he said, then show us everything that why what's wrong out there and what needs to be corrected. I thought, oh, that's fine. Now this is where the fun begins. Because of my practice with that automobile, and time went on, and keep practicing. This is what life is about, is practicing how to get things done, and perform it, and attract it, and find the tools. And the thought came, go over to H.O.M.E college, go to the library. I go over to the library there, and all of a sudden I was aware I need to be in the sociology group, so I walk down through the books and I run out my hand to feel where in here is the books that I need to use for my paper. And I brought all the cards and paper and pencils and everything. I'm going to do it now. And I went through and I picked up books, went over and stacked them down, and wrote down the bibliography on each one of them, and then start flipping through, and the universe said, go to this page, read this, read that, do the other thing. And it felt like being a secretary. They're giving me all the notes. And in 2 hours, I had my notebook filled with thoughts and ideas, and all I have to do is now organize them. I thank the librarian for their help. When I got stuck, they were right there for me. It's like the universe. If I didn't hear the spirit people, I had human people help me. I left there, walked back over to Home Center, and walked up, sat down at the computer, and all of a sudden I start organizing, and in 2 hours more, I had the whole paper completed. I checked it for spelling and all of that, the English, sent it in, and when I sent it in, I blessed it and said, this is the solution to the answer necessary for the doctoral thesis. Sent it in. 3 days later, I got a call from my advisor down in Arizona, and he said, you know, that's quite a piece of material you sent. We'll send you your certificate of completion today. There was 2 hours over there getting the information, 2 hours organizing it, and then sending it in. A lot of teamwork took place there, a lot of expectation, but it went from a car to a doctoral thesis. That's what I'm saying. Everything we're doing is building on and preparing you for more. The more you dwell on the right action for your highest and greatest good, it'll be there. The more you say, life sucks, that's what you're going to get.
Yeah.
You're going to get what you ask for. This is what makes this such a fantastic journey. And that's what we want to start. We're going to be doing this maybe once a month, taking up a theme. And if you have a theme out there that you'd like us to wander around to help explore your world to make it better, drop us a note. You know, Home Center, just give us a call. Now give me back to Dick and let him flip you around here a little bit.
I'm going to take us all the way back to the mid-1970s.
Whoa.
This is the first time that I used one of the principles that I learned here in classes, and I didn't realize why it worked, but just stay with me. I'll paint you the picture. I was a field engineer for a computer company, which means back then vacuum tubes and mechanical parts. And I really loved getting my hands dirty. Sometimes it was all the way up past my elbow and ruined the shirt, because the company was white shirt and ties, even though you're a mechanic. Pardon me, about my third year, I think, I was called in and just before Christmas and said, Dick, we like the work you're doing, and we're going to give you a means service award, which in an office of 40 people or so, you get one in that branch. And it was my award, which means that I went to a wonderful conference down in the States later on, and it really impressed me. So I started, at that point in time, I started every morning, I would sit down, I would write, I've earned another means service award. And I had myself write that 25 times, repetitive, and while I was doing that, I'm picturing the things that I'm always working on and how to improve the technique, because these were in the end of their lifetime, so everybody was like ho-hum on them. But I was proud of what I was doing, so I was improving the job. And son of a gun, if in 2 years I was called in for my second means service award, another trip to the lower 48, another great party. Well, I kept this process up, and I earned a third award. And this again is still an office of it. It had grown to about 50 people at that point in time, and I seems like I'm every other year the person that's getting this award. While I was doing this programming, I didn't realize that my productivity was improving dramatically, because I'm just living, enjoying what I'm doing, reminding myself that what my value is, and as the managers were watching what's going on, everything in my territory, which was the entire state of Alaska, by the way, the old equipment that I worked on, the military, Air Force and the Army had it all over the place. So I got to see some really strange, not so vacation-y spots in the 15 years I was up there. But I did get out, and when I went out, I worked on the machines, and when I left, they lasted a long time before they had another problem. And I even developed a little program, thinking I was the only one doing this stuff, I could talk to their Air Force or Army mechanics out there, and sometimes they were able to fix something. That's another story for another time. The programming, the belief in yourself, the belief in myself, the belief that I was worth another trip down to the lower 48. It just kept me going, and it made me feel so much like a better person. I don't know what else to say about that. It was just fun. Back to you.
Yeah. I think this whole enjoyable thing is every day is an opportunity to be more. And I look at it this way: when we come here, we have a book of life, all the things we're gonna do in this lifetime, we could propose to do for our evolution. God gives us a bookkeeper that sits along with the book and says, I'll help you keep on track. So sometimes you wonder why I'm doing that is because you've already said I want that experience for my own evolution. I'm moving up the grades. I don't want to be in 4th grade again. Next lifetime I want to be in 5th. I want to be in 6th. I want to keep going. And the same thing, I went to work I was going to be a school teacher. And that whole rug was pulled off underneath me. And I thought the universe was pulling a game on me, but instead they turned around and put me in working for the state and federal government, helping people with their unemployment, employment, how to get jobs, all of this activity. In our district, because like Dick did, they kept throwing things to me and we kept trying them out. Next thing you know, I had the first position as a floater. They never had a floater before, but I put in management and I wasn't connected to any unit. All I did was float around and I was a troubleshooter. And the wonderful thing about it, I have people in the spirit world inspiring me of options and possibilities to be successful. And the activity just kept growing and growing. And they even paid for a master's degree for me. And I had one of the first management analysts out of the University of Buffalo. I got into counseling courses for school teachers, and they realized I'm in the wrong department, and I'm only 2 classes before I get my degree. And they came to me and they said, we can't give you a degree because you're not a school teacher. And so what we're doing, we're proposing to convert it to business management. And would you take 4 more courses in business to round out, because we're designing something new and you're would be one of our experimental. And I said, why not? I got my degree and they just said, I'm my certificate counselor, that's all. Because they didn't even have figured out the title yet. But by that, the universe put me in a program that I shouldn't have been in, but they prepared, because down the road they knew this was coming, and they put me in that one, and that led me to a floater position in the government. It made every day a day to go to work. I never thought, there was times I was doing work of a 36 and I'm only being paid as a 22, and I didn't care. Because look at all the fun I was having, and all you learn, correctly or discorrectly, destructive, stays with you until you build on it or remove it. And that's the journey. That's why our symbol for Home Center is the lighthouse. Come into a safe harbor, we'll help you get it back on track, let you go out there and do your journey, because you're necessary for the evolution of this planet. Win, lose, or draw, this planet's going to exist. We're having trouble playing the game, but the more of us play to win, not to destroy, the better off we'll be. And I'm going to kick it real quick over to Dick again.
Okay. Well, I'm going to save this next one for next month because it's a little longer story. I think we're 25 minutes into this. It's probably time to pray us out of it.
Already?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Oh.
Time passes when you're having fun, doesn't it?
Yes.
Quickly.
And, you know, and I have to say one thing before we kind of quit. When I was 19, I went to a palmist, and the palmist said I lived to be 83. I got in the metaphysical world, and people would look at my palms, and they look at my numerology and my astrology and all of this stuff, and they said, you'll live to be 83. Well, I'm 90. 83 didn't seem like I got enough time in. The next goal is 100. You're in control. You're not the object of everything else. You accept or reject what it is you want in your life. You design it. People have a difficulty identifying who I am, and I have to tell you one thing. All through grade school, high school, college, people didn't understand my first name. They would call me any word that had 3 letters in it, or 4, that Bill, Sam, whatever. And to keep from embarrassing them, I would answer. J seems so simple, but it was the greatest gift of all because it was a place to start the journey. I'm one with everyone. Can you join in and be one with everyone? And we build a better world, you and me, Vic, the people who want to play the game of life, to win. Well, my friends, our time has flipped by, and it's time for me to go. And all I'd like to remind you is you're in charge of your life. And God is here to help you make all that you want true to you. Prove that you're connected to a source where unconditional love lives for eternity. So let's join together and work towards that direction. Have a fantastic day. Talk to you later. Bye.
Arms around the world, around each other. Arms around the world, sisters and brothers. Arms around the world and we discover. Arms around the world, there is no other.